This, the Zhiyun Weebil 3, is a no-nonsense workhorse of a gimbal designed for DSLM camera setups. Let me talk you through what it is and what makes it an incredible game changer of a device for a small creator like me. Disclaimer, this video is sponsored by Zhiyun. I've been paid to say nice things about it, so do not look at this as a review of a product, more of a product showcase. I will never do a paid review, and you have my word on that. Let's get into it. The Weebil 3 costs just shy of £450 for the base standard package, or just shy of £530 for the combo bundle, which adds a backpack, a wrist support, and a sling handle to the mix. More details on those particular items a little bit later. In the box you'll also find a mini tripod, some different coloured gels for its integrated LED, and heaps of cables to connect it to your camera. Getting mine connected was fairly simple. What I did was took the micro USB cable, plugged it into the camera, into the gimbal, then had to change a setting on my camera to allow it to be controlled over USB, and then had to change the setting via the Zhiyun app to allow the gimbal to select the Sony profile for controlling the camera. Once I'd done that, now every time I turn both things on, they're instantly connected. Speaking of the app, there's plenty of additional tools here. You can remotely control the motors, change the strength, and even start-stop recording. It's a very basic app. It gets everything that you need to get done, and is really easy to use, available for iOS and Android. The gimbal itself is designed to be as small and compact and easy to carry around as possible. It's designed to be, when folded up, well in the footprint of an A4 size piece of paper. And coming in at just 1,130 grams, it is much lighter than the bigger, bulkier gimbals that you might see being taken around in flight cases and stuff like that. Sure, it's not designed to hold Arri Alexas and Sony FX6s. What it's really designed for is smaller YouTube creators that are going to use stuff like the Sony A7 line of cameras, for example. It has a built-in light for extra lighting on the go, as well as a built-in microphone for scratch audio. Here's the sound of the microphones built into the Sony A7 III camera. Here's the sound of the microphones built into the Zhiyun Weebil 3. It sports a nice screen on the front with a joystick, several buttons and dials around the gimbal. It gives you plenty of control. These can be mapped to different things in the menu. They're not totally static, and actually the menu itself is very easy to get in and out of using the side dial and button. With 3 built-in 2600 mAh batteries and power delivery charging, this is designed to allow you to use the gimbal multiple days in a row if possible, and get really good battery life out of it. Throughout this entire period of filming with it, testing with it, all that kind of thing, I have not had to charge it yet, and it even came out of the box with 3 out of 4 bars, just to give you an idea of how much you can use this thing. Granted, this is with a slightly lighter sort of setup with my Sony A7 III and 50mm lens. If you put heavier stuff on it, it's going to worsen the battery life a little bit because of course the motors have to work harder, but even still you should get at least all day battery life out of it. 2 hours of charge should charge the thing from 0 to 100, and that should give you 21 hours of active usage, which is kind of nuts. I mean, imagine shooting for 21 hours in a row. So we've established that the Weebil 3 is pretty basic, it's very standard, it's a no-nonsense, get the work done. But did you know it could also be kind of fancy as well? The combo bundle comes with this sling handle, which is designed to give you better sort of agility at lower angles when you want to get sort of the suitcase style shots, and it can be adjusted, it can be taken away if you want, and you also have this wrist support, which again should put less pressure on your wrist when holding it at those lower angles, because you are pushing against sort of the bone instead of actually putting the weight on the joint itself, which should make it easier to use. Now granted, this might not fit everyone's hands, but I found it actually to be quite helpful, especially when walking around with the gimbal. If I have to move between shots, it just means that there's less strain on your body, and actually it does make the difference that Zhiyun say that it does. For some shots, it's probably not needed, and sometimes it can get in the way, and I would put it in the included backpack, which is very nice by the way, a little bit more detail on that later. But yeah, just having those options is great. The backpack is really nice. It's made of this sturdy, weather-resistant material. I wouldn't say it's rainproof because the top has a drawstring and it is slightly open, so you couldn't really, I mean, you could put a bag over the top of it to stop the rain getting in the top, but the material and zips, they feel super high quality. I didn't realize it was a backpack at first. I thought it was just sort of a carry around, and I put it on my back and it's really comfortable. It does not look as comfortable as it is. It is very comfortable, and because it's so big, the bottom allows you to put your tripod in there, a few mounting lighting accessories, put the gimbal in the top part, but actually I found my Sony also fits in the bottom part as well, so I can literally take the whole setup around just in that backpack, which is great because it's much easier to carry around than my normal camera bag. My normal camera bag's a little bit chunky, and if you want to, you can also strap a tripod to the outside of the Zhiyun backpack as well. Might even say get the combo just because of the backpack. Needless to say, after many years of creating good gimbals, Zhiyun, they're almost masters of it at this point. I mean, the Weebil 3 is really easy to use, it's really simple. Balancing the thing was very easy due to the fact that you can lock the axes independently. This also makes it easy to carry around as well. And I found that actually using the gimbal, you didn't really have to have much prior experience. It's nice that my camera has autofocus, that definitely helps out in the situation. But just the fact that it's smooth, it's seamless, I haven't had any bugs, any jitters. It's great. It makes someone like me who has shaky hands look better at using a camera than I actually am. Now, Zhiyun don't actually state a payload limit, and this is where you might get a little bit confused with what you can put on it. As I said, designed for DSLM, so stuff like the Sony series, the Canon R5, stuff like that. However, fellow creator James Matthews did a video with it and found that he could get his Pocket 6K Pro on there with an 18-35 lens as long as you use counterbalances. I don't have counterbalances, they cost quite a bit of money and I wasn't able to use them with my Pocket 6K, so it didn't quite fit. However, this being the case, this means you can get quite a heavy setup on here. So say you've got Sony FX3 or A7S3 and you have a bigger lens like the 16-35 or even sort of the 85 f1.4, big heavy setups should work on this as long as it's not necessarily a cinema camera with the cinema lenses, because they are just a next step up in terms of weight and bulk. So for aspiring creators or smaller YouTube channels like this one, perfect, because we don't have crazy gear on this channel, we're just using the standard Sony DSLM cameras. I've really enjoyed my time with the Zhiyun Weebil 3. It's been just a joy to work with, and I think that's mainly because it hasn't caused any problems. It's just been seamless, and as long as you set the thing down on the tripod when you start filming, you press the button, you let the motor sort of do their thing, and you pick it up, and then you don't have to put it down, you don't have to turn it off for the rest of the shoot. I mean, a lot of my smartphone videos tend to only be a couple of hours shooting time, but even so, that means that I can get 7 to 8 to 10 shoots done without having to charge the battery. I actually shot the iPhone 10 video, which came out a few videos ago. I'm not sure when the scheduling's out for this thing, but I shot that with the Weebil, and that was really easy and really nice to use as well. I even got Callum helping me film, and of course he's not, he's used a camera, but he's not as sort of versed in them as I am, and even he managed to get it done really well. The Weebil 3 might be one of the best investments you can make if you already have a good camera, a good lens, and you want to take it to that next level and shoot a lot of stuff outdoors. Complements a tripod really nicely and just allows you to get that more dynamic shot when a shot might look fairly boring without that movement. And that's where I'm going to leave today's video, guys. I want to thank Zhiyun for sponsoring this video. As I said, not a review. This is a sponsored video, and I've really enjoyed my time on this. It's been great to work with something that's not a smartphone and also just get a little bit of a different look at gimbals that I've recently started to get interested in. I kind of wanted to explore the sort of higher end options, and this is definitely one of those. Please do let me know what you think of the gimbal in the comments, and whilst you're down there, please do leave a like and subscribe to never miss a video like this one. I will also chuck Zhiyun's link to where you can buy the gimbal and other things in the video description, just to check out their stuff on there. As always, I want to give a massive shout out to my patrons for being continually supportive. I've been Ryan Thomas, and I'll catch you later. Peace.